to the community briefing. My name is Gregory Sneed. Today is the 13th of November in 2025. The year is rapidly going by. Before we know it, Thanksgiving is around the corner. Crystal was just talking about the cost of turkey. Apparently, the turkey's got a wage hike, so they're charging more. And at least eggs have come down to regular prices, so we're glad that we got some stabilization. But my name is Gregory Sneed, CEO of Lifesaver Financial Services, and we have a great program for you today. So let me now bring to the virtual stage our pre-Thanksgiving queen of the community briefing, Miss Crystal Mitchell.
Hey everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. We are like 1 month away from the end of this year. This year went like zippity doo dah, but but I guess we had so many things going on at one time. It was kind of hard to keep up with a day. There was no lollygagging around this year. But glad to have you guys here to the community briefing. This platform, as you guys, majority of you know, and the ones that are just joining us, was an inspiration that came about as of the pandemic to make sure that our community got information that was vitally necessary for them to do business and thrive during that time. And we also wanted to know who was giving out the money and how would we get some, and also making sure that we made them accountable so that they didn't just keep toting out the same $500,000 every time we have a crisis. So so that actually the $500,000 that I am actually speaking of did land somewhere, so that we did some good. So but since that 6 years later, or I think 6 years later, we are moving forward to make sure that you guys are meeting those people that are in our community doing some amazing things. They're our leaders, our stakeholders. They're sitting at tables where decisions are being made about us, and they're coming to share with us. And then it's just about expanding your network so you know who to call when you need what you need. So today we have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful guest. I've known her for quite a long time. And as I said, I was just starting, her daughter was in my entrepreneur program many years ago. I think she's almost finished with college at this point, or half finished college. So we're glad to have her today. So she's going to talk about the company she's with. This platform is powered and sponsored by Recycling Black Dollars and the BBA, the Black Business Association, and monetarily sponsored by Los Angeles LDC, Michael Banner over there, Southern California Edison, Wells Fargo Bank, PCR, and SoCal Gas. Our amazing team, you met Greg and me. Our other teammates are Miss Robin. She is doing, she's taking care of her hubby today. And Mr. Stephen Turner, who's our producer, and he should be popping in shortly. And then all our wonderful guests that come to visit us every week, and we are so appreciative. Thank you so much. And with that, I'm going to kick it back over to Greg.
Thank you. And please excuse if you do hear my 90-pound four-legged daughter. Normally, she's sleeping at this time of day, but my gardener has some different equipment, and she's not too happy about it. So today, our guest is Tunua Thrash-Ntuk. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, or close. And she's a distinguished economic development. She's the president and CEO of the Center by Lendistry, and she is a distinguished economic development and housing expert, serving as the president there, with an extensive background in advocacy, urban revitalization, retail housing development, and the former managing director of the Housing and Economic Development at the Los Angeles Community Development Corporation. So she's managed over $150 million in real estate and development projects, fostered public-private partnerships, and structured complex financing arrangements. Now, most of you all know that I tend to do very long introductions, but I understand that you are on an abbreviated schedule today, so we're going to fast forward and get you right to your presentation. So please join me in welcoming our guest, Tunua Thrash-Ntuk.
Thank you so much. I hope you all can hear me. Can you hear me okay? Okay, wonderful. If for some reason it pops off for a moment, bear with me. I am not in my office. I'm on location at a partner's office. And so, but wanted to make sure I got on to be with you all today, no matter where I was in the world. The community briefing was going to be my priority and a place that I stopped by to say hello. So, Greg, you did a fantastic job of introducing me to Tunua Thrash-Ntuk. So you did great there. And Crystal, can you believe it? That little girl who was in your program, who was too young to be in the program, but too ambitious not to be, is now in college. She's actually in her second year
Oh my
in
God.
college. So I know. Who would have guessed?
I know.
That they grow up and
They do. They go to college. They make us feel old,
they go to college.
but they went to
Exactly.
college, and that was part of the process, right? So that's
That
good.
that's right. That's part of the plan.
That was
So
part of the
we're
plan.
very proud of her as she continues her education there, and she's interested in medicine and public health and business. So we'll see where that takes her going forward.
Following in her
And then
mama's
Crystal, I don't know
footsteps.
if you
Following in her
yes,
mama's
in so many
footsteps.
ways.
Okay.
In so many
And
ways.
the baby boy, he must be in
Baby
middle school.
boy. Not yet. Not yet. No,
Oh, okay.
He's still a baby. He's still a
Okay.
baby. So he is he's in about fourth grade and is having a great time on the soccer field. So
Oh, good.
that's what's up with me. My husband and I are busy trying to raise the next generation of leaders and business leaders, medicine leaders, legal leaders to make sure we have our legacy continue.
Oh, awesome. We're glad to have you.
Wonderful. So today I'm happy to, dive right on in and have a little conversation. Not everybody, has the background on like who I am and why I do what I do. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. And then my colleague who's on the line, Shafiq, he's got a presentation and we'll walk through a little bit of that as well. And then because I
So if I might make
sorry,
a suggestion, your bandwidth is probably a little limited. So even, while you're gorgeous to look at, we're here to hear what you have to say. So you may want to, there you go, take the save a little bit of bandwidth and have it focus on the audio. So
okay, that'll work. Hopefully that'll help as well.
it does so far, yes.
Okay, great. I was saying that what we'll do right now is that I'm happy to just dive right on in. I'd love to just share a little bit of background about who I am, why I do what I do. And then my colleague Shafiq and I will have a short presentation that we'll be able to share going forward. So good morning, everyone. I think you've already heard that I am a mother. So you've got that piece out, and that keeps me quite busy. But coming to this work, my background in history, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, right on 98th and Figueroa some time ago. And in that house was my grandparents, my mother, my dad. I had lost to gun violence when I was only 1 year old. And so it was really hard for my mother to keep us housed. And so we moved around quite a lot. And I learned a lot about our systems and how they work and, how they impact young people and families. But my grandmother's home there off of Figueroa was the place that I felt like was really home because no matter what, I could always come back there, knock on the door. There'd always be something to eat and somewhere to sleep. And so that was the place that I called home.
Right
So
near
much
Barrett Elementary, I think, right?
That's correct. I mean, we were there before it was Barrett Elementary. It was 97th Street School when my mother went there. So yeah, we've been on that block a long time. And knew a lot of people in that community. My great grandmother first moved to that block, coming to California from Texas. So yeah, you know the area well, Greg. And in that community and in that household, there was a lot of focus on family, focus on a community, education, and faith. Those were things that, as you can see and look through my life, that continue to be themes that guide me as well. My grandmother, she did a lot of things, but in terms of being a domestic worker, but worked for the city of LA and was a supervisor, helping to be a custodian supervisor there. My grandfather worked for the city as well, and he was a trash man. He'd pick up all kinds of good finds. His route was on the west side. So we thought, wow, why would people throw out these things that we, really treasured, frankly, coming from South Central Los Angeles. So, Crystal, you probably know I was the first in my family to go to college. I went off to UC Berkeley, then off to MIT, where I got a degree in city planning and was really focused on public-private partnerships. And what can we do to bring capital to our community? What could we do to compel both the public and private sectors to work together to ensure that there were resources for communities like the one that I grew up in? And that was a theme that really guided me through my education. I've since picked up certificates from other places, Stanford, Princeton, USC, along the way. But most of you have seen a lot of my career. And Greg, you talked about even my work back at West Angeles CDC, helping to build that real estate portfolio that they have, both of housing and commercial development. And then more recently, moving into squarely the community development finance field, where I have been all about raising capital that we ensure is distributed equitably within our communities. And so at the Center by Lendistry, where I serve as president and CEO of that nonprofit, we do that every day. Our tagline is that we center small businesses with an emphasis on diverse and underserved small businesses, making sure that they have the capital and the capacity to be able to create those jobs in community and to generate and catalyze wealth in our communities. Most recently, in terms of capital, we've been able to support Los Angeles County with rent relief. Believe it or not, there are a lot of folks who were still having a lot of rent that was due from COVID when we could not get out and work, when we could not access resources. And so we were able to help the county distribute a little more than $100 million in rent relief to support not only those renters, but there were a lot of small landlords, small businesses who kept people housed even when they could not pay the rent. And it's important that we acknowledge that so many of those folks were also diverse and underserved themselves and doing what they could to make sure that as many people as possible stayed housed. So we have a whole series of programming that we do at the center. And at this time, I'm going to ask Shafiq to pull up his screen if he has sharing capabilities to be able to share out what it is that we're doing. So you can see that my entire career has been focused on how do we do what is necessary in community to elevate opportunities for small businesses and to make sure that there's stable housing and opportunity in community. So at the Center by Lendistry, I talked about our tagline, which is centered on small business. Next slide. We are a nonprofit organization, and we support diverse small businesses through education, technical assistance, and access to competitive financing. This is a snapshot of some of the team members who help get that work done. So at the Center by Lendistry, I love telling our history and how we were founded in Baltimore, Maryland, actually, by a prolific publisher, and that was Joy Bramble. She's on the other end of this picture here. And Joy Bramble was the publisher of the Baltimore Times and was one of the first Black women to lead a newspaper. And she created the center as a think tank to help more Black-owned businesses grow and thrive. Since her vision in Baltimore, the center has now evolved into a national resource for small businesses across the country. And we are, given our name, people often ask, how are you affiliated with Lendistry? Well, the center is a strategic partner to Lendistry. And Lendistry is a minority-led, technology-enabled, more like fintech, community development financial institution. So Lendistry, often I say, you know, they have the dollars and we have the know-how in making sure you can access those dollars successfully. And so we always pay homage to Joy Bramble, who was responsible for ensuring that the center even existed so many years ago now. Our mission, which I've told you, is to close the wealth gap by anchoring small businesses in the communities where they do business. And I believe that, this brings us to my final slide that I'll share with you all today. And that's really about our impact. So you can see just in the few years that I've been with the center, we've helped secure almost a little over 200 million in grants and capital for small businesses. We've helped to support more than 11,000 small businesses, 86% of which are diverse owned, 53% of which are women owned, and quite a number, about 63% are micro businesses. And then we focus on identifying businesses from low wealth communities as a way to ensure that they have access to the best information. So about 78% of our portfolio is in those designated census tracts. So with that, I'm happy to, if there's any questions that the audience might have before I head out, I'd be happy to answer those. And then in addition to that, because we'll be able to continue on once I head off, Shafiq on our team can continue to talk about some of our specific programming. Greg, I'll leave it up to you. What do you think is best?
Well, right now, let's see if we have some immediate questions. I think I had left out of your past history at LISC, and
Yes.
and I used LISC and was referring guys to them during the PPP scenario,
during the pandemic,
or debacle, or whatever you want to call it. And that's how I became part of the community briefing, because I was brought on as the correspondent for helping people figure out the PPP as the rules were changing like hourly. So we did leave that part out as well. Crystal, were there any questions that came up in the chat?
I think there was a question, and while I get to that, Lendistry, I didn't know they were two separate entities, so that explains a lot. And I think I met Ms. Is it Brambo?
Joy?
Joy.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I met her at one of George Frazier's Power Networks when it was being held in Baltimore. I think I went to two of them, so I think I met her, and she spoke. I think she came out to speak to us. So I guess I just tied them all into one. So that answers a lot of my questions, and it also explains, based upon your background and your history, why you do what you do. Because I know you ran for an office, and so now it all gives me a whole complete picture of how integrated you are with the city of Los Angeles, and the understandings from both the business side and the people side. So that really helps. So Lendistry, the grants, who are they distributed to, and how does that happen?
So we currently, neither Lendistry nor the center, I don't think either of us really have an active grant program right now.
Okay.
During the pandemic and during the most recent fire recovery crisis, we did have some grants for those specific topics. But since that time, a lot of that has been distributed, and there isn't any immediate opportunity for something quite as big. Then, just the national agenda hasn't called for something like that. But, certainly I think staying involved with our organizations, seeing our newsletters, making sure you're following us on social media will give you a lot of insight as to what we are doing and whether there are opportunities that pop up that might be connected to your specific business.
Okay. Destiny had a question. What's been the most rewarding part of working at this center and helping small businesses? Good question.
It is that's such a big question, right? Such a big question. Yesterday, let me just give you an example. A big part of what I do as well, Destiny, is really look at how policy opens the pipeline. So there's two sides of this. One, we've got some direct programming that we do with businesses and some of our accelerators. So we have a digital accelerator, a contractors accelerator, a brick and mortar accelerator. And it's always, 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 always fantastic when we can do something like with our brick and mortar accelerator, see a business go from a home-based business to a brick and mortar business that is highly successful. Love telling those stories. Love to be able to show how that happened. And that is wonderful. At the event that I held yesterday, what we were doing there was the County of Los Angeles now has a new agency, the Los Angeles County Affordable Housing Solutions Agency. And they now have hundreds of millions of dollars to help build affordable housing. All that's great and all that's important for our community. But what my role specifically has been about is demanding that there is additional points and additional consideration for diverse businesses, for diverse developers, for women development companies, for emerging developers who otherwise would never get access to these opportunities. And so for me, the rewarding piece is with that policy change, like, it's not as fun to talk about with what's happening with certain small businesses. But what I saw yesterday and what I know is that by making that policy priority and in demanding that it is included into the notice of funding, I know that I'm opening the doors for many, 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 many diverse developers to be able to develop with these resources that we are collecting from the public, and they're going to be made available to diverse developers. And I'll be monitoring and watching that. So that is just so rewarding to know that I'm able to make that kind of connection.
I have a question.
Yes.
So with changing in policies and actually not necessarily acronyms, but definitions, how is diverse being defined? Because it says 86% diverse owned. We used to see minority owned or small business. I've seen definitions of DEI and the D. The diversity also included white women. It included veterans. The LGBTQ plus community. So how is diverse being defined in terms of these statistics?
So in terms of what I shared regarding our programming at the Center by Lendistry, because we are not a government agency, we are able to collect information, and we deem diverse to include those who are of the historically marginalized, federally recognized communities. So African American, Latino, Asian are the categories that we use in describing diverse. And on the policy that I was talking about with the La Casa agency, for example, we're helping to define that for them. And a lot of that will come down to who has been eligible for many of the MeBe certifications that are out there. And so again, that emphasis is on the historically disadvantaged communities.
And I think you partially answered my second question, was the changing in federal funding. How is that impacting the Center by Lendistry?
So, we are very, I feel, good in a lot of ways that we don't have huge federal contracts. But I will say that for the community development finance field, while the center is not a CDFI, we do a lot of things that support the ability of CDFIs to get capital out. And the repeal of the Inflation Reduction Act, which was going to send billions of dollars to communities in order to electrify our cities, electrify our businesses, create sustainable projects, create construction opportunities. All of those funds have been repealed by the current national administration. And that has dealt quite a blow to our field in terms of what we were hoping to be able to do. But it doesn't, we know that some of that work will continue. States like California continue to focus on electrification and projects that are all about resiliency and sustainability. And so we'll follow that. And just like everyone else, I mean, we've been brave enough to use the word diverse, but there are times and in spaces where we may not say that term in order to continue to be invited back, not so much so that, we're concerned about, what they might think of us, but just so we can be at the table to hear so that we can know which direction to go. And how do we make sure that our communities are able to continue to still access the resources that are out there.
Thank you so much. What are some of the opportunities in two directions? One are for companies, entities to partner with the Center from Lendistry, and then secondly, what are the potential employment or agency sort of relationships that someone wants to come and be part of your organization?
So in terms of learning about our work and our programming, Shafiq, if we can pop in our website. So we have that, but we'd love you to visit www.thecenterbylendistry.org. There we've got a newsletter. We would encourage you to sign up for that. Take a peek around. If you see something that is of interest, we have some email addresses on the site and staff members who are standing by and can answer your questions or engage accordingly. And then we're a small organization. So I would say, we don't always have a lot of openings, but we are interested in maintaining a roster of consultant friends. So if there is something in what we do, any of our accelerators, any of our programs where you might have expertise, you are more than welcome to share that with us. And as opportunities arise, we'd be happy to get in touch with you to learn about, what your expertise is and to see if it's a good fit with what we are seeking to accomplish.
I will reach out to you. Especially if for our young people, I think there's a trend that, we have a group between the ages of 24 and 35 that are kind of being ignored. They're just not, they're lumped in with everyone. And I think they have some very special needs right out of college, especially today with what's going on with AI, and if they're skilled, if they have those skills under their belt, and just making sure that they're more, they have everything that they need in order to be successful, and do what we all did, right? We all had a lot of doors open for us, and I know some of those doors are limited for them because they just don't exist today, especially with us getting into corporate America. A lot of our gatekeepers are no longer, that we all know, have retired. So just learning how to navigate through that is going to be different for this generation under us.
You've got a really good point. As I've just told you, I have a young college student, and in my conversations with them, I'm realizing the way that they will look for work will be different from how we did. And the move towards technology as the first screener screens out a lot of our kids in our community who don't know how to get past those screens and or don't have the network and the relationships. Sorry, I got too fancy with my with having my
with your bandwidth, huh?
I know. I was like, oh shoot, let me turn it off.
Now she muted herself. There you go.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, I said you hit on an area that I think is really critical with young people, and helping them really navigate the relationships that are needed. And it's so much harder to get those relationships because technology is in between right now.
Right, exactly. Yeah, all of us on this call, especially those of a certain age group. I mean, we just did our networking, and we had our folks on the inside, but they're all retiring. So I see it's going to be a major challenge for them. So they got to learn how to utilize LinkedIn as that technology to really get what they need or whom they need, and just learn how to do it better, I think. So yeah, I think that's going to be issue. That's going to be something. And so, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about that, based upon what I do with the entrepreneur kids. I think we could find some answer, in how to better prepare them, for their future career.
I see Michelle Morbell is on. Thank you so much for the shout out in the chat. Really appreciate that. Great to see you and all the great work that you're out there doing.
Yeah, you guys are West Day
Oh yes.
members, right? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Of your client base or customer base, how much of that is Los Angeles, or state of California? Is the reach national? Give us a framework of that, please.
Yeah, I'd say probably approximately about 75% is LA County, and maybe another the other I say closer to 20% is the state of California, because we've got some state of California programs. And then we just have a smaller footprint across the country. And that expands and contracts depending on what activities we're doing. Last year we were in New York. We looked at an opportunity in Colorado, and we're very deep in Atlanta. So it just, ebbs and flows, but we're still in Atlanta actually right now. I'll be there mid-December again for our program, and we'll be continuing that work into 2026.
And also to note that I was looking at your partners here, that BMO, you can tell Joy, BMO is not Baltimore.
I don't know if I'll be telling Joy that.
Well, people in Baltimore, they call them BMO sometimes.
Yes, I know. And
yeah.
I'm not going to tell her it's not.
Were there any other questions in the audience before Tunua takes her leave to do her business out there in Atlanta? Are you guys involved with the gathering spot?
We are not. And I'm in LA today. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm at a partner's office.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we had the young man, the founder of the gathering spot on, and the first gathering spot was actually in Atlanta. And they're pretty involved out that way. So that might be for that younger group population, the under 50.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, Renee and I.
Go ahead.
Renee and I went to a meeting there. We went to support someone, and she and I obviously were the seniors in the room. It was an odd feeling.
It's a welcoming space. It's a welcoming space.
I was called an elder.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Uh, and I do hold public office, just so you know, Crystal. I was successful in that last run.
Oh, right. Okay, well, yes. So, but it makes sense. And so you're working from both areas. And I think that is so important, especially in this political climate, having those politicians that are actually lived amongst the people and understand what the real problems are, as opposed to
Yes.
all of the shenanigan goes around, because they're so far out of touch what it's like to look for your next meal or be concerned about the roof over your head. That you got to experience that to understand how to deal with that.
You got it. You got it. And I talk about that all the time. That's my superpower, is
Yeah.
the fact that this is who I am. This is how I grew up. You know, my family is still of all stripes and has all kinds of different kinds of experiences, and understanding and respecting that and thinking about policy from that perspective is powerful, in being able to make the kind of difference that we need in communities.
Yes, I think so. I think so. All right, Greg, back to
Well, I want
you.
to thank you.
We
Yeah,
have,
thank you for having
I
me
have,
on.
I have one more question. If you are you running short of time? Because or maybe Shafiq can kick in. I had a couple
I'll be
questions about your digital
one
growth
more.
accelerator.
You got one more.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
try. Go ahead.
yeah. I
Last
said,
one.
yeah. The last one. Tell us a little bit more about your digital growth accelerator.
Oh, absolutely. So the digital growth accelerator comes from, as Crystal kind of talked about, that lived experience during the COVID pandemic. I realized that when we told businesses to pivot and go online, that didn't mean anything to some people, and it was really hard for businesses to understand how to do that. And
Mm.
so our program is really all about getting online, having an online presence, learning how to maximize that online presence. And the program is divided into what I would consider to be an intermediary program and then an advanced program. And so that we want to get you to a point where you're selling online and where you're selling out online. And we happen to offer that program in both English and then fully in Spanish, as well as two separate courses at a time. So that way we can reach those who might not be able to, where we wouldn't be able to just deliver the program in English, but we also offer it in Spanish.
Awesome.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Thank you
yeah,
so
Thank you
much.
so
stay in
much.
touch with us.
Well,
So
thank
I'm
you
going to
so
leave.
much for joining us. Yeah, I know you gotta go, and we
Yeah,
thank you
it's
for
been my
making the time
pleasure.
to speak with us.
Okay, and now we're
Of
going to turn it
course.
over to her partner there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shafiq Shamsudin with the Center by Lendistry. I'm a senior program manager. We can't thank our CEO and president, Tunua Thrash-Ntuk, enough. She's been with the center for 2 years, but has really made the focal point of how can we help small businesses. Small businesses incorporate almost over 90% of the businesses in the United States, with 33.2 million small businesses in the United States. And half of most people employed are employed by small businesses. So it's not a group we can overlook, but it's also a group that needs the most support. And so when we were really charged with the Center by Lendistry and the things that we do, it's very centered around small business. So we take our tagline very seriously. And Tunua always makes sure to say, what is our impact? What are we doing to really help support our small businesses? And so this is just going to be a quick overview of some of the direct services and programs the center offers to small businesses, whether you have one employee, which is maybe just you, to even if you have close to over 50. So the center is always here to help provide technical assistance, education, and also to those things in between to help you get the capital and things that you also need to be successful. As one thing you mentioned, Greg, was our digital growth accelerator. This is an accelerator program. So if you're a small business and you're saying, hey, my online presence is good, how can I make it better? Or I'm just starting up my online presence, I have a website going, but I'm not getting the clicks, I'm not getting the things that I need to really make it worth it. the Digital Growth Accelerator is for you. And so this is where we work with you hands-on. We provide you like kind of that educational content, how you can boost your, what they call SEO, so that's search engine optimization. So if you go to Google and someone randomly types, hey, you know, cupcakes near me, are you popping up in that feed or are you not? Because that's helping you drive business, right? Is your, you know, you might, one thing I love, and I'm pretty sure some of you are scrolling right now, you know, we're all scrolling, right? And one thing I love is, and me and my wife have to go down there, it's a smokehouse in Murrieta, where the guy has an oxtail bone and it's falling off the bone. You know, he got me engaged because, you know, that's digital advertising, right? So all these things are necessary for you to be able to run your business and run it well, especially in a digital environment. And with DGA, or the Digital Growth Accelerator, we just do that. And we provide you the technical assistance and hands-on support to do it. Our DGA program is one of our largest, longest running programs. We've seen businesses increase over $372,000 in increased sales. We've helped support over 65 small businesses in this program. 51% of them are actually women-owned, and we've provided over 350 hours of dedicated one-on-one support for our small businesses. And I'll put some stories in the chat of some small businesses that have been able to really take this and run with it. One of which is a boba shop owner. She was able to do the DGA program and increase her revenue by $60,000, which is significant, you know, and that's been able to help drive her business too, just from doing the DGA program. And this is just one story from another participant from the Digital Growth Accelerator of everything that they've learned and the work that they're doing. But we don't stop there. Another group that we know is often not supported enough are our contractors. We have so many Black and brown contractors that are doing the work, but also to need that additional support to be able to not only access capital, but also to access really this kind of green landscape. One thing that, even though there's been a federal divestment of kind of green works, you know, solar power or wind power, it's actually very critical, and that industry has been booming since in 2025. You might have heard things called data centers, or, you know, if you use ChatGPT or use really anything, they go through a data center. And the energy demand is not going away anytime soon. So solar panel and wind energy is the quickest way we can be able to address that need. But it's difficult for contractors who may not know how to enter that space to be able to operate in that space. So our Contractors Accelerator is really aimed to support our contractors, access capital, so if they need those dollars to be able to continue their operations or to scale. Also, two, how to get a successful RFP bid. You know, that's one thing our contractors need, is like, what do I need to say or what do I need to do to be able to get this contract so I can grow my company? And provide them the key education and resources to be able to reach into the green economy. So our Contractors Accelerator, we've launched it last year, and we're going to be extending it again this year, hopefully in nationwide. With our Main Street Goes Green Accelerator, this is a accelerator or program to help support our small businesses reduce utility costs. I'm kind of curious to get a raise of hands of how many people's electrical costs have gone down. Anybody? Yeah, I didn't think so. So we know our electricity, utility costs aren't going down. So because of that, how do we as a small business start to think about how can we reduce that cost to save our business money? And so this accelerator is aimed at small businesses. You know, we have a whole variety. We have restaurants. We have actually a law office. We have medical offices. We have a grocery store. We have a variety of businesses that are part of the accelerator, learning environmental practices to help bring down their costs. And also to case studies of other businesses that have done it too. And sometimes it's not as hard as you think. And part of this accelerator, we give a small grant up to $1,000 for you to be able to actually do it too. We know you need the green to go green, so we provide that to you as well. One participant out in East Kentucky, it was a grocery store that was unfortunately just demolished due to a flood. And that was one of the major, that was like the only market grocery store within at least 20 miles. So it's a very rural location. And so as they were able to build back better, they installed solar panels and also had new Energy Star appliances. Their bill before the flood was $16,000 a month. They were able to reduce it down to $12,000 a month. And that $4,000 savings, they were actually able to employ people from the community to help run the store. That's the difference that can be made when you're able to reduce those utility costs in a dramatic way where you can reinvest those dollars back into your business. And if you go to mainstreetgoesgreen.com, that's our free toolbox that you can use as a small business and learn from others on how to do it. But if you want to be part of our accelerator, which is also free, you can do that too next year, as we're just finishing up our last cohort. This is Sherry. She was one of our cohort participants in our first cohort. And this was a quick story from her. She learned so much, and also too, it really helped her, get motivated as a business. As a small business, sometimes it gets very lonely, and to be with a cohort of individuals aiming to support each other, but also to grow each other's businesses, and also to reduce utility costs. It's always a great place to be with other people in the small business space too. And she was able to convert a lot of her business from just being paper to being actually online and digital, cutting a lot of waste out. Another program, and we had extension as Tunua, our president, was talking about yesterday, was Build. One thing that's important, and this is one thing that Tunua has always been a strong advocate about, is affordable housing. Not only at her time at LISC, but also too at the West Los Angeles Development Corporation, is how can we provide affordable housing for those people in LA? As we know, both utilities and rent isn't going down, right? So how do we create an ability to create more affordable housing in the city of LA and also to LA County? As part of that, there's one thing that we often overlook is our developers. We have developers of color and emerging developers that, while they have the know-how and the ability, they can't access what we call low-income tax credits. And that is the main mechanism of how affordable housing is funded. So you just usually can't go up to a bank and say, hey, I want to build this piece of land to be affordable. Can you give me the funds to do so? Unfortunately, it doesn't work out that way. But we've been able to work with especially our diverse developers, to say, hey, you've already had the experience in the space. These are other ways in which we can give you capital and for you to fund your deals and your developments to be successful and to actually build. The unfortunate case with applying for low-income tax credits, which is, like I said, the major way in which you're able to fund real estate development for affordable housing, is that a very small majority of companies actually win those bids and awards. And to me, it's very sad because most people are kind of shut out in that process. In fact, my mentor, prior to me even coming to the center, when I was doing affordable housing development, he has over 20 experience. One person that was 20 years of experience in affordable housing. If he were to start alone and start on his own today, he would not be able to access those tax credits because he's not capitalized enough as an individual or as a small business to be able to reach those awards. So one thing that our president said, hey, we need to figure out a way to make sure our developers are able to access those developments, access capital, to be able to fund the next generation of affordable housing, because the current way is not working. So that's some of our key programming. We also do have other programming, as Tunua said, not only in Los Angeles County, but also statewide in California, as well as in other states as well. We have a Beltline program in Atlanta that's helping small businesses along that area grow too as well. Our digital growth accelerator is available nationwide. So if you're in Los Angeles, or if you're in Houston, or if you're in Chicago, or anywhere in between, or New York, you can be able to access those programs. So I'll stop right there in case there's any questions. And we just want to thank you for your time too as well.
Crystal, over to you.
That's awesome. There's a couple of people there's a question in the chat. Let me move my screen up so I can see it. Can you, this is from Stephen. Can you share the partnership between Destination Crenshaw and Lendistry? Center of Lendistry.
The Center of Lendistry. Yeah, and so we're still doing a lot of work with the Destination Crenshaw. It's still developing. As we're kind of working through that program, what programmatic type of things we can support for those small businesses, because it is a huge project, not only in terms of affordable housing, but also to small business as well. So we want to keep you still posted. We're still working on some of those public partnerships and ways we can kind of support, but we'll be getting some news out for you guys a little bit here soon. And please follow us on too in our newsletter. And that's where you'll get the most news.
Oh, okay. So that's there was another question. A warrior he's interested in the digital growth accelerator. How does he get involved? Does he go to your website, or how does that work?
Yeah, if you have to go to our website to apply. Again, we both on all of our social media streams, and we have what we call cohort time. So, you know, we just had, we're actually in the middle of Main Street Goes Green cohort 2, DGA or Digital Growth Accelerators in their cohort 2. So we have cycles in which they come out. Our next cycle will be next year. So please, like I said, please join the newsletter, check back our website frequently, or even go on LinkedIn or Instagram, follow us on Instagram, because that's where we also send updates on when those programs will be open.
With your because obviously there's a number of businesses that are doing quite well, and if our community wanted to support them as well, is there a way that we could that you guys is that on your website as well, or do you have a directory, or how do you know who's doing what if you wanted to support that small business?
Oh, that's great. You know, we don't have a directory of individual businesses in terms of what we do in terms of our accelerator. Unfortunately, we don't provide that information, but you know, it's actually kind of interesting for our people in our cohort. You know, if we have catering or if we have small events, we actually kind of use our people in our accelerator. So because they're doing such great work in the community and they're small businesses, and we just want to, you know, reuse those dollars back into support our small businesses. But unfortunately, we don't have an instant directory of everyone in our accelerator.
Okay, all right. I mean, it's important that the where they're doing their work, you guys are using them. I think that's vitally important for all of our agencies that are working with young people, working with businesses, is to make sure at least we're supporting them because you know that is an issue. So that's pretty cool. So was there any other questions for anyone else?
No, Shafiq, if you pull your screen down, I'll share, give you guys your teammates there. Oops, wrong one. Let's go here. So that show up there.
Yeah. We see them. So as you know, we have our president and CEO, Tunua Thrash-Ntuk. Our VP of Strategy and Operations is Miranda Rodriguez. A fellow senior program manager is Marina Garcia. She was so supportive in all the rent relief, and also to COVID rent relief, and also to emergency rent relief too as well. We have our...
There you are.
There we are. We have Ritzy Mullins, who's our small business associate. She runs the Digital Growth Accelerator, so she's the best person to talk to. Again, if you just follow us, or if you put your email down in the chat, I'm pretty easy to find. I can get you that information on when to enroll. Of course, there's myself. I run the Main Street Goes Green Accelerator, the Developers Accelerator, and also to another program aimed to support small businesses working with middle market businesses. Our other teammate, Ben Greenlee, he is a phenomenal person. If you, let's say here, and one thing we also do, and I forgot to mention, in terms of capital access. If you're thinking about applying for a loan, or if you're trying to get a better understanding of exactly what does it take to get a loan, Ben is your person. You know, sometimes we apply to loans and we get denied as a small business. We're like, hey, you know, what's happening other than the letter that they give us? Ben has been able to create some really smart tools on how you can better understand exactly where you are as a small business, so that you can get that yes instead of that no or that maybe. We also too have Monique Rodriguez. She's our executive assistant that makes everything run. And we also too have our newest team member, Allison Palant. She's going to be working on our Contractors Accelerator, extending that nationwide in different several markets. So we have a small but mighty team. But you know, we're all geared toward making sure small businesses are successful, and we have that impact as our president always wants to make sure that we have in our programs.
As you're bored, actually I'm gonna see Stanley this evening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have both local and, both local and East Coast type, board of directors that make sure that constantly monitor what we're doing to make sure that we are doing what we're saying we're doing. And also to, again, having that impact for our small business.
Awesome. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Stephen had a question, and I think there's a couple other questions. Let's see. Are you guys exploring blockchain potentials to streamline processes, enhancing transparency, and improve efficiency for small and minority businesses?
So one thing we actually do, we don't necessarily use the blockchain, but we do use AI tools. Again, if you are in a situation where you're thinking about applying for capital and could be a loan, this could be, or, any type of debt instrument, you can contact us and say like, hey, we're thinking about doing this, and we can kind of walk you through on things you need to consider. Of course, you do, for especially personal lines of credit, they do use your credit report. That's one key piece, but there's also two other key pieces that you need to have in line. That when you do apply, it's not, you can get it, the money as quickly as possible, but also two, you can get the yes, right? There's so many times in which, folks in our community have been denied, and we're trying to figure out, why is this the case, right? We want to take a lot of the guesswork out of it. So when you contact the Center by Lendistry and you talk about capital access, we can help support you and think through it. Again, we don't have blockchain, but we do have AI support tools to help support you in that. So you can start modeling and start thinking about exactly what it will take to get a loan. Great question.
Okay. All righty. This has been awesome. Again, you guys, it cleared up the differences between the Center of Lendistry and Lendistry. I thought they were one and the same all these times. So thank you for that. And you guys have been very informative. And for our guests, you guys have any interest in any of those programs, and the cohorts look amazing. If you're doing business in those areas, you guys should reach out to them at the very least, sign up for the newsletter. So you'll get the information on what they're doing, and hopefully you guys can benefit from that. So we want to thank you and Tunua for coming and joining us again. That's what the community briefing is about, introducing and clearing up and make clarity on what's happening in our community. And so we do appreciate you for that. Please feel free to come back, especially if you guys have a cohort that's about to start, and you're looking for people, because they people get busy and they forget. So if you guys have a cohort coming up, we'd love to have you back on, and that would be fantastic. Okay, let's see. Can you ask Stanley? Oh, okay. So who's our guest next week, Stephen?
Our guest next week is Mark Robinson, the president and CEO of PCR Financial.
Awesome. So we want to thank Center of Lendistry for coming and sharing everything with us. We want to thank all of our visitors today. I see a couple of new faces or new names. Deb Dov, I don't remember seeing her before. And Dr. Malika, I don't remember that one before. So thank you and welcome, and we are glad to have you. Please come back. This is the place to be every Thursday at 11 a.m. We have some amazing guests that come out to share. And as a community, we all have to be connected. We are the ones that can make our community the best place for all of us by being involved and knowing who's out here doing what. And a friendly face. So next time you guys are out, you'll see Shafiq out there. You go, hey, I know him. I think I've seen your face around the city. and so now you've made some new friends, guys. So make sure we're supporting them. Let's give them a great round of applause digitally and thank them. And you're always welcome to come join us at any time you have anything that you want to share with us, and we thank you. And thanks to our regulars that have come out. We're so pleased to have you every week, to see you and to share this information with you. We will be back next Thursday at 11 a.m. and we won't be here the week of Thanksgiving. Obviously, you guys will be
27th.
eating
Yeah,
the
27th. So
27th. You'll be eating your inflated turkey, and and whatever meals, whatever side dishes that have not inflated outside of your reach. And we will want to wish you all, we definitely will, those that will not be back, wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Be safe out there, guys. Then we're into the last month of the year, and then we'll see what 2026 brings us.
yeah, that's it. That's it. So is it dressing or stuffing? Anybody? Who says it's dressing? Show of hands. And who says it's stuffing? All right.
Actually, it comes
SBC.
down to how you cook it, but if you're trying not to get people sick, you should be cooking it in a pan separate from
That's the dressing,
the
right?
bird.
Yeah.
Now, I personally don't eat turkey, so I don't have to worry about the bird part. But if you cook it inside the turkey, that's
Stuffing.
considered stuffing.
Yeah.
The rest of us are eating dressing.
Yeah, I don't like anything stuffed into anything. I like my turkey and my dressing separate, so I can see what you put in it.
You know, we could have on the do the broadcast for what's the Steve, what was the guy, the food safety specialist? We had him on 2 years ago. In fact, we should try to find that for next week and put that on the link.
Oh, I can find that. Oh yeah, that was that nobody wanted to eat.
We had a food safety specialist come on, I guess 2 years ago, right before Thanksgiving. And when the most dangerous thing I think for people to do is to leave the turkey on the counter to defrost.
Yes. And everybody does it. Everybody does that.
So
Everybody does that.
advance it 2 or 3 more days and let it defrost in the refrigerator was the recommendation. So I guess that would be like Sunday before that Thursday is stick it in the fridge and let it come down, but do not leave it out for a day or 2 days on the counter to thaw out. So
there you go. There you go. I'll find that for next week.
yeah.
So we'll see you all, guys. All of you have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe out there. And we'll talk to you next week. Namaste.